Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And this is an article from ZeroHedge.com, which says Iran's nuclear weapons weeks away. And pretty much, when you go into this article, it deals with the Biden administration and how they haven't really been doing much to try and get Iran back into the nuclear deal. All right, which they ended up leaving, I believe, the 2015 nuclear deal. All right, um, which ultimately was the will of the Heavenly Father. All right, because as the days go on and these prophecies draw nearer and nearer, the Lord is removing, all right, those obstacles in the way, okay, of in the way of these prophecies coming to pass. Okay, and one of the major prophecies, aside from the charagma, all right, is the destruction, which is going to come by way of World War III, all right, in which there will be a nuclear war, as well as those lasers that are going to come from the chariots of the Lord. Okay, but I'm going to skip to the main part, the important part, because in here they just go on about, the Biden administration and how really these European countries are more concerned. They're pressing for Iran to come back because Iran has been increasing its uranium, I believe, enrichment program to where they're, well, let me read it actually when I pull up to it. Here we go. Now it says here, as Iran's nuclear policy, however, is not set by the president or its foreign minister, this declaration sounded like just another excuse by the regime to buy time and advance enrichment. It is, of course, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who enjoys the final say in Iran's nuclear and foreign policy issues. At the moment, the Iranian regime is reportedly 8 to 10 weeks away from obtaining the weapons grade materials necessary for a nuclear weapon. All right, weapons. All right, so um they're that close, in essence to getting a nuclear weapon. All right. It says Iran has violated all of the guidelines set in the JCPOA. And I forgot exactly the acronym for that, but let's see. JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Okay, it says known commonly as the Iran nuclear deal is an agreement on the Iranian nuclear program reached in Vienna on July 14th, 2015. But hold on one second. Wasn't this already done away with though? All right. And I believe it was the US that pulled out of the deal. Okay? So it's saying here that um let me read this again. Iran has violated all of the guidelines set in the JCPOA and is around 10 weeks away from acquiring weapons grade materials necessary for a nuclear weapon. Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz told ambassadors from countries on the United Nations Security Council during a briefing at the Israeli Foreign Ministry in Jerusalem, which they're concerned. They're very, very concerned, especially Israel. All right, because those Israelis, man, they know how much those Elamites really want to. I believe Iran said at one point they wanted to remove Israel from the face of the earth. So they're very concerned. All right, especially with Iran on its way to getting nuclear weapons. It says now is the time for deeds. Words are not enough. It is time for diplomatic, economic, and even military deeds. Otherwise, the attacks will continue. Okay? And we understand that according to prophecy, these attacks will continue. All right? As a matter of fact, they're just beginning. And they're going to continue and get so bad to where countries will be shooting nuclear missiles at each other. Now, they tell you that if this happens, you're going to have MAD. mutually assured destruction, and the whole world is going to be destroyed if there was a nuclear war. No, according to prophecy, according to Bible prophecy, there will be a nuclear war, but not the whole world will be destroyed because the Most High is going to guide these missiles where He wants them to hit. So with that, let's get the book of Joel, chapter 3. And see, all these things are in here, but once again, being that the average individual does not have the eyes to see, they can't see the prophecies in the book. All right, and even their pastors and so-called priests and even these scholars, they cannot understand prophecy because it's a spirit. All right, you need to have the spirit of prophecy to understand prophecy, but the words are written in the book. They're in here. You just have to know how to identify them. So this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. And it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Okay, prepare war. Now, the Gentiles, all right, this is actually talking about the actual other nations. And it says, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So the mighty men are considered what? Your military, all right, your weapons, okay? You know, so that's what they're in essence they're doing these military drills. All right, they're doing these they're preparing their weapons. You know, when they do these war games and so on and so forth, that is them preparing and waking up the mighty men because that's the spirit that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has put upon these different nations. You know, and they're getting ready because they know that war is in the air and they all have to be prepared. Verse 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. So why beat your plowshares, all right, basically your agricultural tools now into war weapons? Because swords, in this sense, is not referring to literal swords, but it's referring to weapons. Okay, that goes into your guns, it goes into your fighter jets and your planes, it goes into your nuclear weapons and your missile silos and all of these various things. All right, the ICBMs, the hypersonic missiles, okay, because they're investing their money now into these things as opposed to, you know, other things. It says, let the weak say I am strong. Why? Because now if a country, you know, that's not such a big country, you know, maybe you look at some of these smaller countries, even if they don't have a giant military, if they have nuclear weapons and they can do they can do damage, they are strong. Because you could say a small ass country, oh, what are they gonna do? And then they shoot a couple missiles on your ass and destroy a good portion of your country. All right, and not to mention, some these countries have allies. All right, and according to prophecy, Iran is gonna be backed by Russia. So that's why these Western countries are very cautious and careful in how they proceed when dealing with Iran. Okay, so now let's get a quick precept and then come back here. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season. And what is that called? That's called balance. Because according to Proverbs 11 and 1, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord. So to everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under the heaven. So there's a time of war, there's a time of peace, there's a time of, you know, it's just going to say a time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. So a beginning and an end. A time to kill and a time to heal. And right now what's happening is the Lord is about to bring a mass death through judgment because we are in the time of judgment. But after the time of judgment comes the time of restitution, the time of restoration, and the time of salvation. And that's going to be the healing. But it's going to start with the healing of Israel. And through Israel, the world is going to be healed. All right, because the Israel, the righteous authority, are going to be put in power. Okay, and that's going to bring life back and peace back on the earth. This devil, all right, pursuant to Revelation 6, he was given power to take peace from the earth. Okay, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, we're going to bring peace back on the earth. Okay, starting with the Prince of Peace. It says here, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to heal Salakia, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. So what's happening now? This current age is being broken down. All right, we are in the time of this age being broken down. That's why you see the things that are happening, the natural disasters, the economic turmoil, okay, the systematic failures, the grid, the infrastructure. All of these things are getting worse and worse and worse. All right, the morale of the people, it's all being broken down because it's gonna soon is gonna be a part of the former things. And what's being built up? The kingdom of heaven, which is starting with the elect. All right, those that are waking up. See, when you go to the book of Daniel, the second chapter, it talks about in the days of these kings, all right, which is now, the Lord is gonna basically build up the kingdom. All right, and that starts with us, which can also be linked to Ezekiel 37, the valley of the dry bones. Okay, but now we have the sinews and the breath and all of that. All right, and we are standing upon our feet, an exceeding great army. So we are building up. Amos 9 and 11. The Lord said He's going to build up. He's going to rebuild the tabernacle of David that is fallen. The third temple. All of these things are synonymous, but it's going into the elect. All right, being raised up. All right. It says a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. That's the looking for a time of. There we go. Verse 6, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sue, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. And right now we're in the time of speaking. But very soon we're going to be in the time of keeping silence. Pursuant to 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter, I believe is the 5th chapter, or it talks about then shall wit hide itself, or it might be the 7th chapter. Okay, and understanding withdraw itself into a secret chamber. And that's going to be the Lord having us keep silence, because then the time of prophesying is going to be over. All right, verse 7, a time to rend in Salakia. Verse 8, a time to love and a time to hate. And right now, you're not really seeing a lot of love in the world. The Lord said it. He said, the love of many, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what you're seeing. You're not seeing love. You're seeing hate. All right. And that's going to cause these civil wars and these race wars and the chaos. And then it says a time of war and a time of peace. So you look around you and you see the way things are going, and you tell me whether we're in a time of war or a time of peace. Clearly, we're in a time of war. All right. And the war is only just beginning, because real life is about to be like a war. So let's go back to Joel 3, verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Now, where are they going to be gathered? We're going to get into it. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shaphat, which is the Lord's judgment. Okay, over there in the east. Now, the Lord is going to gather these nations there, all right, and He's going to bring judgment upon them. But judgment is also going to come upon various different parts of the earth. Okay, so them being wakened. Let's look up the word wakened. See what it tells us. Okay, Iwar, to rouse, to awaken, to incite. All right, to stir up. Okay, so what is the Lord doing? Proverbs 21 and 1. The heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord, and he as the rivers, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Lord is stirring up the minds of these kings, putting that thought of war into their mind. So no matter how diplomatic they can be or how many deals they try to make, it won't work, because the prophecy will be fulfilled. And that's an example showing you that there is no such thing as free will. Because even if these world leaders wanted to avoid a war, the war is still going to happen. And the Lord is going to use them to do it. You're going to do it. All right? It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put in the sickle for the harvest is ripe, and the sickle is the sharp, sickle that they will use to, to reap. Okay, it says, come. So the harvest is ripe, showing you that the time now is ready for these judgments to be fulfilled. These prophecies have been prophesied since thousands of years ago. All right, and each time they were mentioned and the visions were given, it was a part of it being planted. But now the harvest is ripe. It's time for these prophecies to come to pass, to spring. He says, come get you down, all right, for the press is full. Meaning the either the oil press, the wine press, wherever it is, it was like somewhat designed like a pit in a way. All right, not a super deep pit, but enough where it can hold the liquid from escaping. And they would put all the grapes or the olives in there, and you would trample upon it, step on it. All right, so it says, "Get you down." All right, come up in here, for the press is full. It says the fats overflow, and I don't. This isn't talking about fat, as in like, you know, cow fat or body fat. I believe this is talking about the. Let's see. Yeah, wine press. Okay, so dealing with the grapes and the wine, not actual physical, fat as we know it. It says overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is near in the valley of decision. So when you come back here and you're hearing about these talks, Iran is a couple of weeks away from nuclear weapons. Okay, the peace in the world is being shaken, and in these various countries you have division going on. All right, now you have a lot the Republican, I think RNC, Republican National Committee or something along those lines. They're saying they're gonna sue Biden. They're saying they're gonna come against his mandates. So you're gonna have people standing up. You're gonna have sedition. You're gonna have uprisings, and it's not gonna be just among the common people. You're gonna have politicians and people who are supposedly in high powers that are gonna be against this. All right. So you're getting ready to see some real heavy opposition, okay, and some real violent times. But this is prophecy. So let's finish it off here in Joel 3, verse 15. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, for the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord shall be the hope of his people, and the strength of the children of Israel. All right, and that's exactly our mindset. Okay, the Lord is our hope and our strength. And notice it says the strength of who? The children of Israel, not the whole world. And even amongst the children of Israel is going to be amongst the elect. All right. So with that, I hope you were edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.